Venezuela is about the oil, or the perceived notion that you can control oil. Greenland presumably is a piece of land that you want to send out a message that I want to add a piece of land to America. You've got a situation where with Iran, there seems to be a sense of an ideological adversary, if at all Trump sees it as that. You're saying each of these adventures or misadventures should be seen very differently. There's no universal value attached to what Donald Trump wants to do.
Absolutely. You put it exactly right. It's a series of disconnected, often quite bizarre impulses. And, you know, to try to claim that there is some coherence or strategy to it is to dignify it with much greater intelligence or kind of a sense of, you know, a worked out philosophy than Trump has. You know, he has instincts, he has emotions, he has impulses, and in some cases, as you said, there's a personal interest which is very strong. I mean, the reason he likes the Gulf states is because they have lots of money, and he's dazzled by that. He loves the idea of dealing with rich people. Even here in Davos, I mean, as you know, it's full of fascinating people who are social entrepreneurs, journalists, thought leaders. The only people Donald Trump is going to meet are rich people. He has one reception, and guess what it's called? The CEO reception.
And the rich are supplicating. The American rich are also supplicating before Donald Trump. You would have thought there would be some kind of a pushback. That's not happening. It almost seems as if large parts of the world have accepted the idea that Donald Trump can decide what he wants to do come tomorrow. There's a fear factor.
Look, you know, what was happening with American business is very sad. One of the things that I notice, the India I grew up in, Rajdeep, that you grew up in, any businessman who wanted to have a good relationship, wanted to be profitable, successful, number one thing was you had to have a good relationship with the government. When I got to America, one of the things I was delighted by was businessmen didn't care who the president was. They didn't care who the government was. Some of them liked him, some of them didn't like him. They could just go about their business. Trump has reinserted the American political system and the office of the presidency into the economy in such a strong way, right? He picks winners, he picks losers, he invests money, he takes a cut. He is doing the kind of interventionism in the economy that, frankly, Indira Gandhi did in the 1970s. And the fact that American businesses are going along with it, well, look, part of it is that for the same reason they did in India in the 70s. They're scared out of their wits because he can turn on them. And when he turns on them, he destroys them.
In fact, someone on the flight with me, a businessman said America is trying to catch up with India and learn everything they once sort of looked down upon India as doing. But, you know, Fareed, are you saying that here is someone who doesn't care about an alliance like NATO, doesn't care about these relationships that have been struck over decades? He's ready to upend NATO. Is that the kind of, or possibly even do a deal tomorrow with China, which could have implications for India? Are you saying he's that transactional that there is absolutely nothing that makes him realize the follies of some of these decisions?
Look, the only thing that seemed to have stopped him in the first term were these guardrails of, you know, Republican foreign policy elites, congressional elites who pushed back. He seems to have always had these instincts. And if you look even further back, Rajdeep, as a businessman, he was very transactional. He was the kind of businessman who, when he saw he had leverage, he squeezed you until he could get the best deal from you, force you to, and if it forced you into bankruptcy, he didn't care. Most American businessmen I've met who have built great businesses believe that is the absolute wrong way to do business, because your business is not built on transactions, it's built on relationships. It's built on long-term relationships that provide enduring value. But that is not how Trump sees the world. And by the way, that's why he never built an enduring business. That's why his businesses went out bankrupt 6 times. That's why, what he had was a kind of shell company licensing deal.
But in a sense, therefore, instead of making America great again, could he, as some columnists suggest, make China great again at the moment? The world is now looking at China with new eyes because they want to de-risk from the United States. And who knows, tomorrow, China could do what America did with Venezuela, with Taiwan. Are these real fears that what you're seeing in Trump's inconsistencies, his follies, is for countries like China, in a way, to perhaps only increase their sphere of influence. Should that be a concern to the world at large, that as America's power in a strange way diminishes, China's rises?
There's no question that the greatest beneficiary of the Trump foreign policy is China. Look at what happened last week, where Mark Carney, the Prime Minister of Canada, arguably America's closest ally, goes to China because he has to. He needs markets. He needs investment because Donald Trump has turned Canada into an economic enemy. And the Canadians are looking now for new markets. They have to diversify. The Canadian foreign minister put it very well. She said, for the last 30 or 40 years, our strategy was very clear. Integration with the US at every level, diplomatic, political, economic. Now their strategy is, she says, in the next 10 years, we have to do massive diversification away from America. And I would argue that is becoming a mantra that you are hearing almost everywhere. People are saying, as you put it, de-risk from America, diversify away from America. Everyone is going to have to deal with America. The United States is too strong. It's too big a market. It's too dominant a political, military player. But everyone now regards America as a problem to be managed, and they will go about doing their own thing, trying to find new markets, forging new trade deals. The interesting thing is, while Trump is being protectionist and nationalist, other countries are reaching out and doing more free trade with one another, finding ways of cooperating with one another. So for the first time in my lifetime, the United States is no longer setting the agenda for the world. The US is doing its thing, protectionism, nationalism, Other countries have to manage that. The US is too large. But look at what Europe is doing. They signed a free trade deal with Mercosur. They're going to sign a free trade deal, I guarantee you, in 2 or 3 weeks with India.
That's right.
They're going to sign one in Southeast Asia. The Brazilians are searching for ways to expand trade. The Africans are searching for ways to do more trade. Modi has done more reforms in India as a response to Trump's tariffs. So in a strange way, everyone is treating the U.S. like the kind of crazy parent you have to deal with, but no one is listening. No one is following its lead. And that loss of the agenda-setting power of America, the soft power, is very, very meaningful.